First of all, what's really active right now in your house? Now
Active.
that you are, what's really active right now in your house as a Speaker of the Senate? And that is the revenue allocation formula. And there has been a lot of heat around it. 9 attempts failed. Is Senate failing us? Are you, as a Speaker, a failure in this?
I don't think that as a Speaker, I'm going to fail. And I think people need to understand the role of the Speaker. My role as a Speaker is to moderate debates, to make sure that there's orderliness in the House. I don't participate.
Has what has been happening orderly?
Yes, the other day when I adjourned and people were making noise, standing order number 123 is the only one, and maybe standing order number 1, which gives latitude to the Speaker. Where there is no clarity in the standing orders, I can use standing order number 1 to make a ruling. But where there's a clear standing order 123, like it happened the other day when people were shouting curfew, others were shouting formula. When the House becomes disorderly, the Speaker can then adjourn the House. But ordinarily, it is a senator who will stand, I think, understanding number 104, to seek for adjournment. He will move the motion, it will be seconded, and a vote will be taken by all senators present. If it carries the day, then there's an adjournment. And that's exactly what has been happening. It's not the Speaker. I have no role completely in adjourning. So if the senators themselves are saying they want to adjourn because of this reason, or maybe because eventually, you can say everything you want to say. But in Senate or even National Assembly, at the end of the day, you must take a vote. And when a vote is taken, if it is lost, if there's a tie, the motion is lost. If not, then one side wins, one side loses. So what has been happening in the Senate is the senators themselves discussing, and when they realize that maybe they're not making headway, they want to consult, because what they have been trying to do is to build consensus. And that's what they now agreed last time, that we should not have a formula that will leave the Senate divided or this country divided, because we are having what we were calling, and that was wrong, that losers and gainers. So they wanted a formula that will be unanimous if possible, so that they are able to move together as a Senate, as senators, because as a senator they represent counties, not just their own particular counties. So you cannot apportion that blame to the Speaker. The Speaker only moderates. I'm a referee. If you score, I will say you have scored. If you have not scored, I will say you have not scored. That is all. If the match becomes too rowdy, I stop it. So that's the only role that the Speaker can have. But I think, again, this, if you ask me, this has also been a bit healthy, because the senators, whoever is arguing is putting up an argument because they have again also been sent to represent people. For example, if they say, somebody is saying, how will I explain? Okay, all the formulas that have been there, some counties have been losing money. Mm-hmm. So one is saying, okay, now, how do I explain to my people that 1 billion or so went during my work? This is also about politics, that's political suicide. But again, I'm sure that a solution will be found. The point I want to make is that as a Speaker, have I been fair in terms of giving people an opportunity to express themselves? They may not agree with what they're saying, but I'll give them an opportunity. And I think I've done that. I've given them an opportunity. I have conducted myself with a lot of restraint, even despite...
Yes, that restraint.
Yes.
Because when you say you've chosen to hold back,
yes,
is what has led people to call you a lame duck Speaker who has no spine to even give leadership on this particular issue, because you've chosen to restrain.
What leadership do they want me to give on this matter? I've told you I don't debate, I don't vote, and sometimes you see I have a lot of experience also in administration. Sometimes when people want to trap you, they want to take you in a certain direction, so that because you can see that you are being provoked to take a certain action, so you throw somebody out of the chamber, then it becomes chaotic, and then they achieve what they want. So sometimes when you learn that that is the intention, because somebody maybe wants to disrupt the proceedings for certain reasons, I choose not to play to that.
Has it happened? Can you give us an example?
Yeah. When somebody says, you know, you sacrificed me, you did this, I don't want to argue because, you see, like I'm saying, and I want to insist, I don't vote, I don't debate. A vote is taken by the senators. So sometimes it's also a style of management. And people have been saying, oh, you know, comparing me with Kaparo. Kaparo was a speaker in 1993. This is 2020. The circumstances are completely different.
What of the Solomonic wisdom of Marende?
Marende, even me now, they're saying I mess up.
Toa uongozi.
Let me tell you, even me now, if you listen to what Senator Murkomen said at the rise of the House, said, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you, forget all that we have said about you. Because you see, sometimes we are very quick to judge. Sometimes we become very emotional before you know. And sometimes when things don't come your way, then I become bad. But when they come your way, then I'm a very good person. But what I'm saying is Solomonic wisdom, you know, and I was just saying Kaparo was a speaker from 1993, Marende was a speaker from 2007. Look at the circumstances that we are talking about. And sometimes, you know, the house becomes very, very, very hot. Sometimes you're told, you know, act in this particular manner. Sometimes they even want to intimidate you. If you are not careful, you can be intimidated. Mr. Speaker, you should act in this particular manner. And sometimes if you are quick to listen and follow on what they are saying, you can actually derail the House. There will be no debate.
I mean, if you take it back to 2015, actually 2011, when Marende was credited for the Solomonic wisdom, yes. One of the instances is when he sent back the names of EACC nominees that the then President Mwai Kibaki had given. And at that time, that was a shared government, and he actually managed to quell both sides. So even as much as you say the circumstances were different then, we have something that is at play with different interests that are weighing on either side. There's an opportunity for Speaker Lusaka to come out and call to order, perhaps even for the sake of the nation. Even besides the point of going by the procedures, you don't have a vote and you're calling to order when there's, you know, things get chaotic. You don't see any missed opportunity?
No, there's no missed opportunity. Let me tell you, it took my ruling on Tuesday for the House to calm down. The emotions were very high. You remember, even one of the senators said it was going to be chaotic. And another one said, no, we cannot allow that kind of language. After I gave that ruling based on, because you see, you can only make a ruling based on the standing orders and the Constitution or precedents that have been there before. So when I used standing order standing order, I think was it standing order number 78, and the Constitution Article 122, 123, which says, you see, when it comes to voting, we vote by delegations. When you are voting by delegation, in the absence of the delegate himself, the senator who has been elected, then he delegates, he appoints one of those on their delegate to vote for them. Now, the senators who are not there wrote a letter saying they have withdrawn that authority for them to vote. And I just based on that. And the House calmed down, because then when they voted, it was 29-29. And that's now when they said, okay, gentlemen, let's go, let's adjourn. I gave them, the adjournment motion went through. They went and came back. When they told me they were ready, I came back, and the leader of minority read 12 names who are meeting as we speak, yes, to try and don't you think, what is Solomonic wisdom, if that is not Solomonic wisdom?
Well, maybe it's Lusaka wisdom, but Kenyans aren't satisfied as yet. And in fact, some calling you compromised and undermined as speaker, especially with what is at play. What do you say to them?
So they want me to participate in debates. They want me to throw people out, or what do they want me to do? Because Senate has proceeded very well. The matter of revenue allocation is a motive. You've seen I have controlled the House. In fact, there are no instances. If you remember, even the National Assembly, one time bottles of water flew when they were pouring water on the speaker, and, you know, the mess was being taken. You remember even one time the mess was taken away. It was almost stolen in the National Assembly, and it had to be saved by Angwenyi. We have not had that kind of incident in the Senate, and I'm just halfway. This is the only time that we are having something very. Okay, I know, like in football, you can play so well, but when you miss as a goalkeeper, you concede a goal in the 89th minute. People forget all the saves that you have made during the match. Why are they not talking about having led the Senate to Mashinani?
So you concede there's a miss?
A milestone. No, I'm saying people tend to forget the good that you have done and only concentrate on one small incident, and then they start saying, oh, you are this. Yes.
Right. So you've mentioned, just to move ahead forward with the conversation, you mentioned the 12-member committee, and we are looking forward to a way that at least they will say we'll go this way or that way. And some are saying Monday, but it's somewhat open-ended. There's no time frame to this. What can Kenyans expect, at least from the behind the scenes?
The time frame they said they gave was Tuesday, that if they can work out and come up with something by Tuesday, then we can be able to have a special sitting. But again, the leader of majority cautioned that if we are not ready, then let us not rush into going for a special sitting, because again, if there's no smoke at the end of the tunnel, we'll just be giving false hopes to the Kenyans. So we are hoping that, and as we speak, like I've said, they are already sitting. They are trying to look at what is possible. And we are also praying that they should be able to give us something that Kenyans will be happy about.
Yeah. To the Kenyan who hasn't quite followed every session, as a speaker, shida iko wapi? Where's the problem? Why aren't we agreeing? Just to help them understand.
You know, there are many parameters which were given by the CRA, that's a Commission of Revenue Allocation.
Yes.
Then it was taken to the Finance Committee. The Finance Committee also modified it. And the basics are that there are those who are arguing that more resources should be allocated based on population. And there are those who are arguing that more resources should be based on the expansiveness of the place. So those arguments have been put there, and that's where, you know, you find that when you calculate, you find that some counties who are losing a lot of money, some counties who are gaining a lot of money because they have they have the population, and they're saying, okay, money is allocated to people, we need to put more health facilities because of, you know, we have more people. These ones are saying, you're taking us back to the session of paper number 10 of 1965, you know, where some counties like were forgotten about or were marginalized, and therefore it's also time for them to catch up. Others are saying, no, but you are getting equalization funds, and then when donors come, they also come to those areas. So all these arguments have been put up. So I think really what they are trying to do now is to try and get a formula that will see all counties carried on board, even if there's some losses because of the variables that have been put there. But they're saying that it should not be so much, you know, so that it should be within some comfort zone, okay? Because no formula, there's all formulas, some counties will lose money. So if they can reduce the number that are going to lose money or reduce the amount that is going to be lost, I think that is what they are trying to work out.
So realistically, there can't really be a win-win situation for all.
It can't be. The win-win would maybe be, because all formulas, like I've said, from 2013, some counties lose. Even the current one that's going on, there are counties that gained, there are counties that lost. So the win-win is just, you know, to say, okay, maybe all these variables that have been put in place, you lose, but you will not lose so much.
Let's talk about the contempt of Senate in what happened on Monday. 3 senators arrested at a day when, you know, this heated debate and vote on this revenue allocation formula is going to be discussed, is on the floor of the House, and they're arrested. You were in, was this contempt against you as a Senate? Is that how you read it?
The senator spoke, of course. We condemned whatever had happened, and said nothing was going to continue until the truth is established on what has happened. Of course, I gave directives that the Committee on National Security invites the Minister for Interior and all the agencies concerned. They were not able to come that particular day because, we had joined up to 2:30. The reasons they gave for not coming were not satisfactory to the Senate, and therefore I gave further directives that they use the provisions of the Constitution, I think Article 153, which talks about summoning a cabinet minister and his team to come. And they're supposed to be meeting the committee today, which is Wednesday, just to explain what exactly happened. So I don't know yet the outcome, but of course it was unfortunate that that happened at that particular time when a crucial vote was going to be taken.
Do you see it as a coincidence, or it was actually to avoid them being there?
Really, I can't tell. That's why I directed the matter to the Committee on National Security to be able to establish. Then they will report to the House what exactly happened. I don't want to speculate. I want to say, okay, this, because then that will be drawing me into that that argument. And yet, I have already assigned a committee of the Senate to handle the matter.
Yes. No, but this is you as Mwanasiasa as well, who knows how things play out. Their position on this particular revenue sharing formula has been clear. And for them to be arrested on that particular day so that they're not able to participate shows that the government machinery is being used to influence this particular debate.
I can't say that. I can't, just like I said, I don't want to get drawn, because at the end of the day, I am the referee. The report is going to be brought to me in the House. So if I already start saying, okay, blaming this one, or taking a position, I don't think it would be fair. So I think I have already, what the law allows me to do, I have done. To take the matter to the relevant committee, let the relevant committee bring the report, they will lay it on the floor of the House, and then it will either be accepted or rejected by the senators. But as a referee, I don't want to...
You are the referee, and you've put it well. We're living in the day of VAR technology. So perhaps you've given it to, an opportunity for VAR to review this. But in your first reading, was this a penalty that's deserved?
No, let's proceed to something else.
Game on, you say. Let's go back to the drama of Sunday and Monday, the arrest of the 3 senators. And you've mentioned a bit about what action has been taken, but have you heard directly from the IG, the Inspector General, the Interior, CS, or even PS on this gangland-style arrest of the 3 senators?
Like I said, I think they are appearing today to the committee. So I'm here to get the committee, because now we are here. I'm not sure whether they have come or not, but I should be able to find out exactly what their report is. So I've not had anything so far, because once I delegated again, then I can't start doing the work myself.
Right. But as Speaker, give us your position on this, the arrest and how it played out, the position.
No, of course, I condemned it. I said it was wrong. It should not have happened that way, especially just when on the eve of a crucial vote, then that creates a bit of suspicion. But like I've said, of course, unless you've committed, of course, we're not saying if you commit a crime, you should not be arrested. But again, the manner in which it happens, because we are progressing, we are making progress as a country. And let's wait and see what will come out through this committee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Recently, there's been some changes within the Senate in the structure that many argue were unprocedural, yet you ratified them. Were you under duress in letting this play out?
What was unprocedural? What was not procedural? I told you, you see, You remember even when Wetangula was removed as leader of minority. There's a procedure that is followed. You need a number of senators, 20. You need the party that nominated this particular person to write, to say, this, we are changing the leadership. It comes to a motion is brought with all the documentation. It is laid on the floor of the House. My work as a speaker, like I said, if it meets the threshold, I have no reason not to have it get to the floor to approve it. And so they did. They brought the names. They met the threshold. They went to the floor. A motion was put. It was debated. A vote was taken, and they carried the day. What would I have done as a speaker?
Just sat there and let it play out?
Yeah. Let's be sincere. A party, maybe let me use the Weta case. There was a coalition agreement. There's a minimum number of senators that are required to sign to say we have lost confidence in this particular leadership. A motion is prepared and brought for approval to the Speaker. Now, if the Speaker, in my opinion, I look at they've made the threshold. There are 20, for example. All the other, if it's a coalition agreement like that time, they have shown me the coalition agreement, which is satisfactory. I approve. Mine is just, my role is to approve and take it to the House. I have no reason not to table it, because they will say, Mr. Speaker, why are you not tabling what has been brought to you? So I table it. So I put it there and allow now the senators to make a decision, because now that's out of my hand. As a speaker, I came in on a Jubilee ticket. Mm-hmm. I mean, Jubilee is the one that nominated me. And the moment I became a speaker, I ceased to be a member of any political party, because I must be neutral. Now I've told you, if Jubilee Party have written, they have sat and written and brought names to say, we have lost confidence. Did you listen to what the arguments were even when they were removing my deputy? Of course, they said, it's not that you are incompetent, you are very good, you have done very well. Yes. But again, the appointing authority has said he has lost confidence in you, and he has followed, he has brought the names and said, now do this. As a speaker,
what do you do?
What do I do? That's where it puts me.
You've said the executive hasn't quite interfered with your work, but there have been instances where summonses have been put out and sent out to high-ranking members within the government, and they have been ignored. In short, you're told, Senate mjisot. What would you have to say about this, outright just disrespect for your place?
No, but summons have not been given to, are you saying to the Senate?
Yes, and to other members that have said we're not coming, especially when, to the Senate, not just, I'm not talking about you, the Speaker.
No, I'm saying the Senate now.
Yes.
I've not seen it, but ideally...
Senate committees that have called some members, have summoned them to put them in check on certain issues, and that has outrightly been ignored.
There's been that kind of, sometimes, a misunderstanding, because it's very clear that you give, for example, 7 days for, say, a cabinet secretary to appear in normal circumstances, unless something is urgent like this one. So I know there's sometimes been, what has been happening, sometimes there's a conflict where they're saying, okay, we're having maybe having a cabinet meeting, or we're having this, and then they send, say, a CAS, for that matter. When the CAS comes, then maybe the senators or the members of the National Assembly say, we want the minister himself, because what he says now will have finality. But I think what we need to look at that, what we need to avoid as a country is impunity, where, you know very well that this is wrong, and then you continue, you go ahead to do it. So I think that's what we should really avoid, that, we respect each other, and we had even planned to have, this COVID-19, I think, put many things on hold, but we had even arranged to have session, I'm talking about the Senate, the liaison committee, and the cabinet secretaries, so that we are able to agree on how we progress, so that we don't misunderstand each other. Because again, it's important. Like when I was a governor, I thought being called to the Senate was in bad taste. But then I realized that again, some of these things give you an opportunity to explain yourself, so that you remove any suspicion.
Set the record straight.
Set the record straight.
Where does Senate stand in making sure accountability is there, especially now with the devolution at play and more questions about management of funds?
I think the oversight money that the Senate has been looking for is extremely urgent, so that then the senators can be able to carry out oversight even in the court, so it becomes a continuous process. Recently,
and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you have shown support for a bill that aims at giving governors immunity of sorts, especially those who are faced with questions of accountability within their jurisdiction. And in your support, you put up the argument that they should be let free to run their course. Then if there's any question on their leadership, it can be brought after. Just clarify on this.
Which bill is that?
This particular issue on giving governors immunity, not to be prosecuted while in office, and the argument that you would make is let them run their course, finish their time as governor, because if you are to keep bringing cases against them, they will not focus on development at the county level.
I don't remember it went through.
Yes,
maybe it was.
But you gave support for this.
There was that suggestion where they're asking, and I think it was.
You gave support for this.
It was resisted. I can't recall. I don't want to comment on something that I'm not very sure. Maybe not full immunity, but to be protected, because you see, these are also leaders who, you might remember, the governor is elected in a whole county by people.
You're saying you didn't support this in any way? This particular thinking that governors should be let free to continue with their work, finish their tenure, and then if you have questions...
No, I don't think... I think the argument was they should be held accountable.
Okay. You have not held in any, at any point...
The argument was they should be held accountable, because you see now, if you say let him run until at the end of the... It may already be too late. It has happened, so what will you do? Okay. If funds have been misappropriated, or assets have been sold and now he's gone, it becomes difficult.
Let's talk about devolution.
Yes.
7 years on, in terms of trying to realize devolution as had been envisioned in the Constitution. Give it, in a scale of 10, how it has performed, the implementation of this.
I'll give it maybe 6 out of 10.
Where we missed out on the 4?
Going forward, we need to, first of all, also deal with issues of corruption in the county, so that most money is used for purposes for which it was intended.
Right.
2, we need also to relook at the accountability, because as it is now, the law is the accounting officer in the county is the chief officer. So when you take the governor to court, unless the governor has signed, and most cases, I remember having been a governor, there's no place where the governor signs a voucher. How are you going to take him to court? How are you going to prove that he participated in this? You can only speculate, but or let him take political responsibility.
Is that the reason, and I may interject here, that you were not pinned down on the questions about the wheelbarrows costing 100,000?
Yeah. I mean, those were the people who were involved. The tender committee were taken to court. I don't procure. As a governor, you are not a procurement entity. You don't oversee tenders. You're not the chairman of the tender committee. Where do you come in?
But would you allow this to happen under your watch as a governor?
No, but you can't even. You see, as a government, for example, the president now. You can see what is happening in Kemsa. You want to tell me the president knows what is happening? You are leading a government.
Well, he should, if he's a president that cares about
and
the nation.
When it's brought to your attention, then you take action. Like when it was brought to my attention, I took action as a governor, and also led other government agencies take over, and those who are found to have been culpable were taken to court. In any case, I'm the one who blew the whistle about it, and then we investigated, and you know, maybe the name wheelbarrow is what brought a problem. It should have been called a food trolley, because you know, no more wheelbarrows. The cost is known. The wheelbarrows have been bought for 3,000. This was a food trolley which was meant to be used in a slaughterhouse, which we were putting up for export of chicken. But again, that's a case for another day. But what I'm saying is that unless you are the accounting officer, because I've been a permanent secretary. When I was a permanent secretary, and that's why permanent secretaries were being taken to court, because they are accounting officers, not ministers. The minister will take political responsibility, the permanent secretary, and you are appointed by letter. So like if you are going to procure, say, a wheelbarrow, and as I'm an accounting officer, that voucher will be brought to my attention. I'll append my signature. So at the time you're appending your signature, you know exactly what you are doing.
So just to get it right on this particular issue, you're talking about the person to take responsibility,
yes,
and necessarily should be, in that particular instance, the procurement officer.
Yes.
And in this case, you blew the whistle exactly on what? You talk about...
What I did, I wanted to find, I told the auditors, the internal auditors, just to find out how the ministries were operating, all the ministries, agriculture, education, whatever. So when they brought the issue to my attention, like, I said, how can a wheelbarrow cost 109?
So it was wheelbarrows.
They were wheelbarrows, but the material we used were not the ordinary wheelbarrow. Of course, people are making fun of it, but the truth of the matter is non-carcinogenic. Remember, non-carcinogenic is, you know, fighting cancer, you know. And you cannot, I was a PS in the midst of livestock. You cannot export meat if it has not been, if you have not used non-carcinogenic materials. You cannot export it out of this country. It's very sensitive. That's why even our share of the European Union on beef was terminated, and Botswana progressed. So when I saw that, I said, okay, let's look at this. Then you see, like the cost was, the quotation was 109 was the lowest. There was about 130 and 149. So I sought for an explanation. Then that's when now the veterinary people told me that this, and in fact the recommendation had come from the national government, that you see they should purchase that kind of material and that kind of trolley or wheelbarrow to be able to use at the slaughterhouse. So you see, if I am the accounting officer, I will then be able to know what I'm appending my signature. As it is, the governors don't sign, so how will you take them to court? Even if you brought them here, you know, I'm saying it's political responsibility. So,
shouldn't there be at least some form of taking responsibility? This is my house. I take responsibility for what happens here. And what would say Utu, that you wouldn't allow something like that to happen under your watch. So that's what people really call for.
Let me tell you, you know, you are talking about, you are running a very big institution called government, or you are running a whole institution called ministry. You know, there are a lot of things that happen that you may not know. For example, if a secretary is stealing sugar or milk in the office, really, they could even be taken from your office. It may never, until you miss tea, then you ask what happened. Then the fellows have been stealing sugar or milk and that kind of thing. So I'm not saying that they should be not responsible. If they want the governors also to be held responsible, maybe they should design something where for every payment or everything that goes on, the governor can be able to append a signature somewhere. Then you will hold him. Then he cannot say, I never saw it. But the way it is, he will say, because courts don't deal with rumors. Courts don't deal with speculation. Courts deal with evidence. Okay. I will just ask a simple question. Now, where is my signature on this? Whoever signed, take him to court. Whoever was the chair of the procurement, the tender committee, take him to court. Because they signed, they sat there, there are minutes which were approved.
This also speaks to something that has happened while you have been Speaker. The handshake happened. Has that changed in any way your role, the ease or the difficulty of playing your role as Speaker? How has that changed things?
Of course, when it happened, it brought the temperatures really down. Remember at that point, the members of NASA had refused to come to the chambers. They were making technical appearances and disappearing. So really, nothing much could proceed. Could not proceed. But when the handshake happened, of course, then temperatures came down. We realized that then the acrimony that I had witnessed in the first few weeks, or no, is it a month or so, completely went down. So really the house more or less became one.
What has Ken Lusaka done? What's his legacy? You're still running your course.
Yes. Ken Lusaka, I'm still running my course. I'm just halfway. One, implementation of Senate machinani. The fact that we were able to take the Senate from Nairobi because the Constitution says the Senate can sit anywhere. Number two, I have been able to hold that house together and also to build a good rapport between the senators and the governors. Remember, even when I was a governor, 99% of the governors were not agreeing with their senators. People today, they may look at my demeanor, my style of administration as a weakness, but they will appreciate one day that there was a reason why I was doing that. Because you see, you can imagine in the heat of what was going on this revenue, people are very emotional. Then you can imagine, because you have powers, of course I have powers, to order the Sergeant at Arms, for example, to throw out a senator. So what will be the difference between what I'm doing in the House and what is happening outside there when they are being, for example, arrested? So that's why the way I'm using my administration, I will need to understand, why is this person behaving this way? Because again, people are watching him. Because they're saying, for example, you're the senator for Makueni, and you're saying, money, I'm losing money. That's why people become very emotional. I'm losing money. How am I going to explain to the people of Makueni? Now, when he even talks and bangs the tables, and as a speaker, he says, you are now becoming disorderly. You throw him out, then he has followers, 10 of them march out, the thing becomes impossible, they start throwing water, the session is disrupted. And
even some have offered to take your position if you are unable to.
If you are unable, you see the levels of emotion. When somebody's working.
To them, you say.
Pardon?
To them, you say, the ones who say, "Give us your seat, kama kazi imekushinda."
There is a process of getting to the seat, so you can't just walk there and get it.
Okay, and to the issue of the revenue sharing formula, the expectation of something coming from you, the speaker, is unrealistic.
Revenue sharing also is something will be remembered. Of course, it will be remembered that we adjourned 9 times. It may look like it's a
failure.
It may look like it's a failure. It's better to adjourn 20 times and remain united as a country than not adjourn at all and divide this country into 2. And
where does that leave us in terms of the revenue reaching the counties?
The counties are having some revenue.
Some, yeah, but not all.
But it will eventually get there. The revenue is going to be there. Let me tell you, this is not the last time you are going to. In fact, now people are talking about 9 times. It may adjourn 20 times even in the future. Matters of revenue, even in your own houses, it's not a matter that it's a very emotive matter. So it's better, and you are not going to hear, and you'll quote me one day on this, that this is not going to be the last time you are going to hear about a stalemate or a standoff or adjournments because of revenue.